Life changes every day. Sometimes things will be going your way. Sometimes you'll have your health, you're feeling good, and there's some things that can happen to you in life that can take all of that from you. But you can choose in the midst of all of this that's going on to be happy in spite of it. Douglas Matlock has a poem I love. He said, sure, this world is full of trouble. Lord, I've had enough and double reason for complaint. Rain and storm have come to fret me. Skies are often gray. But say, ain't it fine today? It may rain again tomorrow. It may rain, but say, ain't it fine today? Living in the moment, getting everything we can out of where we are in the moment where we are right now, in order to have a fulfilling life, knowing that things are going to happen. Expect the unexpected. Use it for your upliftment. What's the blessing in this for me? Because there's a blessing there. There's something for you in everything that happens to you for you to learn from that experience. And then get what you need from that and move on.
We've all hit a point in our life where it wasn't going right. The one way to coach your mind from depression is with gratitude. Just start writing down everything you have to be grateful for. You can still see, I have a place to live. I ate today. You would be stunned how long you'll be writing. Gratitude changes your perception. Your perception changes your existence. The more you're grateful for, the more God will give you to be grateful for. He's not going to keep giving you stuff if what you got you can't handle already. You kill more blessings by not being grateful. That's the number one blessing blocker, lack of gratitude.
Sometimes you cannot know you're blessed, only to find out that the thing that you were worried about is not nearly as significant as the thing that you had. Sometimes you can have something and not appreciate it until you lose it. I say that because sometimes you're whining about things that really don't matter. And if you were smart, you would learn how to count your blessings and to thank God for what he's done in your life.
Man, I got to go to work today. Man, I got these kids. Remember when you wanted a job? Remember when you wanted a baby? You can't cry about what's on your plate when your whole goal was to eat. Listen to me, y'all. Wake up every day and start being grateful. Wake up every morning and just start thanking him for just your life, your kids, your food, your money. And then immediately after that, you'll have a better day. He start giving you more stuff.
You must live in a spirit of gratitude. There's so many things, ladies and gentlemen, that we take for granted.
Don't talk about how you feel. Say, thank you that I'm healthy. Thank you with long life you're satisfying me. Thank you that whatever I touch prospers and succeeds. Thank you that your favor surrounds me like a shield. You're not going to stay determined if you're talking about how bad it is. God, you said you wanted me to be blessed, but my business is so slow. No, switch over into praise. Praise makes you strong. Praise keeps you moving forward. If you don't learn this principle to thank God in advance, you won't have the strength you need to wait for the promise.
Say thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. True desire in the heart, whatever it is you want to do, that thing that you want to do to help others and to grow and to make money, that's God's proof to you, sent beforehand already to indicate that it's yours.
When you look back over your life, you can see the faithfulness of God. Times where He made a way where you didn't see a way. Even when you made mistakes, He showed you mercy. Here you are blessed and moving forward. Wasn't just your talent, wasn't just good breaks. It was the hand of God. If you knew all the things God has been orchestrating behind the scenes to get you where you are, promotion, protection, opportunities, you would be amazed. God's been thinking about you long before you got here. The scripture says God chose you before you could choose Him. When I think about all that God has done, the things I know about and the things I don't know about, I have to say, Lord, thank you for your goodness. I recognize your favor in my life. Thank you for taking me further than I could go on my own. When you look back over your life and see the faithfulness of God, the times He protected you, favored you, don't take it for granted. It wasn't a lucky break. That was the goodness of God. God told the Israelites He was bringing them into the promised land. It described it as a land of abundance. The clusters of grapes were so large, it took 2 people to carry. After promising all this increase and favor, God gave them a warning. Beware that in your plenty, you do not forget the Lord your God. When you have built nice houses, when your gold and silver has multiplied, do not forget the Lord your God rescued you out of slavery. Do not forget He gave you water out of the rock. God was saying in today's language, when your business takes off, when you have that baby I promised, don't let it become so common that you don't recognize it was my goodness, that you don't take time to thank me for what I've done. We've seen God do amazing things, give you healthy children, bless you in your career. At the time you were so grateful. Don't lose that sense of awe. Live with that amazement at what God has done. If you don't remember what God has done, then it's easy to start taking the credit. We did it in our own power. The problem with forgetting is that God won't share His glory. If you don't recognize it's His goodness, the same God that opened the door can close the door. He said, I am taking you into a land where you will lack nothing. Resources more than you can imagine. My only requirement is that you don't forget it was my favor that brought you here. It was my power keeping enemies from defeating you. I was the one that pushed back the Red Sea. That's why I never get tired of thanking God for what He's done in my life. Lord, thank you for healing my mother from terminal cancer back in 1981. Well, Joel, that was almost 40 years ago. Yeah, but I'm not going to forget. The same God that led the Israelites through the desert. Think about all the times God has protected you. Like me, you've seen God show out in your life. Family members that God's healed. Have you forgotten what God has done? Have you convinced yourself it was just fate? That's what causes blessings not to last. Sometimes we have short memories. We forget God is the one that opened the door. He's the reason your company chose you over somebody else. He's the reason your health turned around. Don't forget about all the prayers He's answered for you. Not only are you thanking Him, but you're reminding yourself, I didn't get here by myself. This is where King Nebuchadnezzar in the scripture got off course. He started off good, giving God the credit, and God continued to increase him. But somewhere along the way, he started taking the credit. In verse 29, he looked out over the city and said, is this not the great Babylon that I have built by my might for the honor of my glory and my majesty? His attitude was, I'm something great. But the moment you start keeping the glory, that's when the favor's going to stop. Verse 31 says, while he was still speaking, a voice came down from heaven and said, Nebuchadnezzar, this day you have lost the kingdom. God won't share the glory. But when you're constantly bragging on God's goodness, thanking Him for what He's done, you're going to continue to rise higher. God opposes the proud, but gives favor to the humble.
If you think ordinary's cool, ain't no problem. It's some really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're going to have to do extra. You put extra on top of ordinary and you come up with extraordinary. It's no other way. But here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities. All of you. You have to decide if you are willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. He who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night.
What do you do when you tried and failed and you want to quit and you want to give up? Because trying again means hurting again, means risking again, means believing again, means hoping again. Sometimes you can be blessed and be unhappy because even though things are going right, they're not going according to what you had believed and expected, and you know that something is missing out of your life. What do you do when something is missing out of your life and the things that replaced it do not compensate for what you lost?
I've always been told how average I can be. Always been criticized about being average. But I want to tell you something. I stand here before you, not listening to those words, but telling myself every single day to shoot for the stars, to be the best that I can be. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better, and better isn't good enough if it can be best.
Turn your wounds into wisdom. You will be wounded many times in your life. You'll make mistakes. Some people will call them failures. But I have learned that failure is really God's way of saying, excuse me, you're moving in the wrong direction.
Other than death, all failure is psychological. Other than death, all failure is psychological. Think about that. If you aren't dead, then it's just psychological. It does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't give up, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed. It just means you've made a temporary tactical retreat, a brief withdrawal, so that you can regroup and reattack. If you get beat, unless you're dead, you are not defeated. And you have not failed. What you've done is you've learned. You've gained experience. And you're still alive. So get up and go get after it.
You don't have to live worried, focused on the problems, wondering why it happened. You know a secret. You have favor in the storm. You know what was meant for harm, he's turning to your advantage. Here's the key. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if you weren't a threat. Oh, get ready. Favor is about to turn things around. Favor is about to catapult you to a new level. Favor is not going to keep you from the storm, but favor will bring you out of the storm. We don't understand everything that happens. Sometimes life is not fair, but you have to trust that God knows what he's doing.
We all live in this bubble. What you got to do to get the life that God wants you to have, you got to put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
This thing called life. You just don't know what the next moment will bring. But here's what I do know, and I want you to know. You have comeback power. When something happens to you, don't buy into what has happened to you. Buy into, I'm getting up out of here. I'm going to change this situation. This does not work with me, and I don't have the luxury of being depressed and angry. I need to clear my head. This is no time to do something stupid, like hurt yourself. No.
So get serious about your goals, business goals, financial independence goals, family goals. I mean, there's so many things to work on this. If you don't get busy and work on it, sure enough, the time will pass. And sure enough, 5 years from now, you'll wind up where you don't want to be, wearing what you don't want to wear, driving what you don't want to drive, eating what you don't want to be. Now's the time to fix it. Your goals are affecting you, whatever they are. Your goals affect your attitude, personality. All day long, we're being affected by our goals.
You got to clear your head so that the decision that you make represents the best in you. People who don't stop to clear their heads, they react. They don't respond. Be still and know that you're going to get through this. You're going to get through this. And you don't want to be radical. You don't want to be erratic. Just be still and know, I'm going to get through this. You got to assure yourself. You have to encourage yourself. You have to clear your mind.
I tried that and it didn't work, and I tried that and it didn't work, and I tried that and it didn't work, and I tried that and it didn't work. Because you think that trying something for a little while ought to bring you a big return. But life does not work like Apple. Life does not click and it appears. Some stuff takes time. Greatness takes time. It takes time. You got to be prepared to get 1,000 no's to get one yes. The thing you need to win is resilience. You can't just keep trying different stuff, because you can never say something didn't work when you didn't half try. Be resilient. Stick it out. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Resilient.
Life is going smoothly, then the bottom falls out. Everything is coming up roses, then the bottom falls out. Everything is working out in his favor, and then the bottom falls out. That life starts going your way finally, then the bottom falls out. You plan your retirement, and now you have to take care of your grandchildren. You plan for life to work a certain way, and then the bottom falls out. You're looking for this, and God sends that. You have to be awfully immature to think that every day is going to be a good day. Some days are better than other days. And some days, if it ain't one thing, it's another.
What would you do if you knew you could fail, but understood that that failure could be a real blessing in your life? Now, that's a good question, because I think we don't reach our possibilities, not because the door isn't open, but because we stop before we get to the door. Every possibility is surrounded by obstacles and challenges. I've never had a possibility with a clear path that I had no opposition to and just ran up there and knocked on the door and everything opened and everything was good. That only happens in the movies, friends.
Resilience. Resilience, the ability to return to the original form after being bent or being compressed. That's the dictionary's definition of resilience. The ability to readily recover from illness or depression. Resilience, being able to withstand setbacks, financial crisis, loss of loved ones, loss of enterprise, and loss of health. How would you ever handle it if you lost everything you had today? What would it take for you to pull yourself up and start all over again? How resilient are you? Could you learn from all your disappointments and start all over again? What would it take? It would take a lot of positive self-talk to muster up the energy to begin again. It would take a lot of concentration to block out the noise and the clutter and the negative voices of others around you. It would also take what? A lot of self-reliance. Your future success has everything to do with you. What's happened has happened. You would need to get on with your life and begin again. It would take a lot of faith and trust in God to move ahead. It would take a lot of self-appreciation, knowing that you have the skills and the talent and the strength to do it one more time. Resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity. no matter how large or how small.
Possibilities are always surrounded by challenges. You got to get through the challenges to get to the possibilities. But it's worth it. It's kind of like a Tootsie Roll. You got to get through the hard stuff so you can get to the good soft stuff. That's the way it is with life. That's the way it is with possibilities.
What's the use of always keeping thinking of the past? Each must have his tribulation, water with his wine. Life, it ain't no celebration. Trouble, I've had mine, but today is fine. It's today that I'm living, not a month ago, having, losing, taking, giving, as time wills it so. Yesterday, a cloud of sorrow fell across the way. It may rain again tomorrow. It may rain, but say, ain't it fine today? If a cloud of sorrow comes over here, ain't it fine today? Living in the moment, getting everything we can out of where we are in the moment where we are right now. The other thing is willingness to let people and things go. You want to live a life of fulfillment. You've got to be willing to let certain people go in your life. When they're no longer good for you, just let them go. Just to hold on tenaciously really doesn't make really good sense, all right? Just many times we do it because we don't realize that we might desire it, but we don't need it. Face the truth about life and deal with it. Whatever happens to you, use everything for your upliftment, learning, and growth. Everything that happens, use it for your upliftment. What can I get from this? How did I end up here? What's the blessing in this for me? Ask yourself that, whatever it is, and don't let it go until you get your blessing out of it, because there's a blessing there. There's something for you in everything that happens to you for you to learn from that experience. Look at it, examine it, analyze it until it reveals itself to you, and then get what you need from that and move on.
It takes time to make changes in habit and discipline. Here's the ultimate challenge. You've got to have patience with yourself. It takes time to correct old errors in judgment. I'm telling you, it took me some time. I used to blame the government and blame taxes and blame the company. It took time to give that up and only blame myself. So have patience with yourself, number one. Number two is to keep doing it. Be persistent. As long as you are patient and persistent, it's hard to elude success. As long as you maintain patience and persistence, there's only one person, just one person, that will draw the line between success and failure. And that person is you. So be patient, be persistent. You need both patience and persistence together. And here's why. Lack of patience is probably the worst enemy of ambition. Impatience wants to give up. Impatience calls discouragement failure. But your ambition won't let you give up so easily, not if you're persistent. What others may call failure, ambition calls a learning opportunity. Ambition knows that the longer the achievement is in coming, the more valued it is.
Oh, please, listen to yourself. You know the feelings. If you start listening to the feelings in your heart, and I'm doing it now more every day, I find that my feelings, I can trust them. And I say to you that as you look toward the future, you look at life on a daily basis. If you've heard something within yourself that you know that what you're doing now doesn't fit for you, it doesn't work for you, it's not giving you what you want, and there's something else that you want to do, don't allow that inner doubt in you to talk you out of it, to tell you why you're not good enough. You ignore that inner voice and all of the external voices. Don't judge the possibilities for what you can do based upon the circumstances, because the circumstances won't determine who you are. Don't determine what you're able to do based upon your resources. Don't determine what's possible for you based upon where your life is right now. Where your life is right now is not you. That's just what it is right now. But the possibilities for you are unlimited. It's unlimited if you're coming back from adversity and devastation. It's unlimited of what you can do. That's the capacity of human beings. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made. It doesn't matter how many flops you've had. It doesn't matter how much money you've lost. What you learn from life. Not losses, but investments of what's possible for you. And I say to you that once you start listening to yourself, and as you begin to act on your dream, you will start seeing things opening up for you. You'll start attracting people. You start brainstorming. Ideas will come out of nowhere as you focus on it. The key to it is to begin to focus, because as you focus on that which you want to do, that which we focus on, that which we give our energy to, it will begin to multiply. It will begin to expand. It will begin to develop your consciousness. And out of that comes your greatness. Out of that comes a commitment. Out of that comes a passion for life. Out of that comes a special power that you have in you. See, the powers that we have will never reveal themselves if we don't challenge them. Put yourself in a position where you can't retreat, where it's do or die, sink or swim. Here's what you'll find out. You'll develop incredible swimming skills. You'll find yourself stroking unlike you've ever seen before. Through the inspiration of desperation, you'll become more creative than ever before. All you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. Make sure you do all you can do.
Knowing when an opportunity is right and when more preparation is needed. Be patient in knowing the difference between when the opportunity is right and when more work needs to be done. Remain alert, even if opportunity doesn't come right away. Keep looking. Be patient. Keep preparing for opportunities, even if there's a delay. Even if things aren't going just the way you think they should. Keep your disappointments at bay. Be prepared. Always be prepared. Don't let impatience allow you to give up. Take the little setbacks in stride. Don't let small disappointments discourage you. Don't let the little successes delude you. Avoid the emotional roller coaster that will always disrupt your plan.
It seems a ridiculous notion that you could drown in shallow water, especially after you have survived the deep. It seems strange that you could drown in something that you could handle. There are some concepts, I just pulled a few, that will keep you from drowning in shallow water. And you might want to jot these down. Don't take the presence of the storm to indicate the absence of God. I'm not talking about the storms that rain down water and the lightning and the thunder and all of that. I'm talking about storms that other people can't see. Because you get up out the bed every morning and you put your hair up and put your makeup on and they don't know you put your smile on just like you did your makeup, and because you are going through a secret storm. And when we get in a storm, we have a tendency to wonder, where is God? Because we buy into this notion that if God was with us, we would have no storm. That if God were really with us, everything would go smoothly. How could God be with us and we have cancer? How could my house be on fire if God be with me? I looked for it. I didn't see him. I looked in front of me. I thought he'd lead the way. I didn't see him. But you cannot see in a storm. That's why he told you to walk by faith and not by sight. In fact, if you really want to see God do his best work, get in trouble. I know you think God does his best work when you're dancing in the church and you're raising your hands and all of that stuff. No. The Bible said he is a very, very present help in the time of trouble. If you're looking for God, he's in the storm. He is with you in the storm. He promised. You never promise the obvious. You give a promise when you know that something is going to come to make you doubt. Whenever God promises you something, he says, you may not have it in your sensual realm right now, but I promise you. Did he promise you anything? You don't steer through the storm based on the conditions of the storm. You steer through the storm based on the solidarity of your faith
and understand that this too shall pass. I don't have no details, but I am coming out of this. I wish I had some faith in this room. You ought to make a declaration right now that the devil can hear, I am coming out of this. The storm has started. I don't know what all I'm going to have to go through, but let's set a pin on the end of it and say, I shall come forth as pure gold. I may have to wait. I may have to hold my peace. But when everything is said and done, I will come out of this. Because he's with me. He's with me. He is with me in the storm. Let's settle on that. He is with me in the storm. I don't know whether you're with me. I don't know whether you're with me. But let's settle this much right now. I know I got at least one passenger. The Lord is with me in the storm.
Pull yourself together and quit tripping because you in the process. God is processing you. He ain't through with you. He gonna fix it. Let me tell you this right here. Why are you tripping? I look back on my life and all that I've been through. I have built up enough reservoir that living in the car taught me that this ain't it. So the things I'm going through now, I know this ain't it. That he gonna come get me in a minute.
There are times in life we can feel overwhelmed, like the pressure's too much. A lady told me how things had come against her at work, and she said, I can't take it anymore. The worry, the stress, the demands, it's too much to handle. But Paul said in 1 Corinthians, God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted with more than you can bear. Paul was saying, God will not let you face more pressure than you can handle. When an architect designs a building, a big skyscraper, he doesn't just design the outside. That's important, but it's of no use if he doesn't design the inner structure. How much wind it will face, how much equipment will be on it, how deep the piers in the ground, how thick the foundation. The architect specifically designs each structure so it can withstand the pressure. The good news is your architect is the Most High God. When he laid out the plan for your life, he calculated everything you would face. He took into account every hurt, every injustice, every mistake, and he designed your beams big enough. He put in you the determination, the stamina, that no matter what comes against you, it will not be too much to bear. You've been designed to withstand the storms, designed to endure until the dream comes to pass. You may not be able to see it, but your walls are strong enough. Your foundation is deep enough. You can bear whatever comes your way. He didn't forget about what environment you'd be in, what conditions you would face. Nothing you face will cause you to collapse under the weight. You need to remind yourself, I've been designed to withstand. I am determined enough. I'm strong enough. I am well able. Now, an architect doesn't wait till the pressure comes. He doesn't wait till the middle of the storm to decide what kind of structure to build. It's designed before one concrete truck shows up. The specs are studied, calculated, and approved before construction ever begins. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, your specs were carefully designed. When you face big challenges, that means you have strong infrastructure. You don't really know what's in you until you get some weight on you. When something happens that we've never faced, it's easy to think, I can't handle this. The truth is, you wouldn't be facing it unless you could handle it. The very fact that it happened is a sign that you are well able. It wasn't a surprise to your architect. He knew ahead of time. He took into account winds that you never knew you would encounter. Nothing you face will cause you to collapse. You've been designed to withstand. In your thinking, you can give in and think, oh, this is too much, I can't handle it. That's why the scripture tells us, don't faint in your mind. You are well able. No weapon formed against you is going to prosper. That difficulty didn't come to stay, it came to pass. The psalmist said, you have been fearfully and wonderfully made. It's not just talking about the outside. That's talking about your specs as well, your infrastructure. How God designed things that you can't see. Things you would think would cause you to collapse, but out of nowhere, strength rises up. A determination to stand strong and outlast the opposition. You may think you've reached your limits. You've been at that same level a long time. Can I encourage you? You have more floors in you. You've gotten comfortable carrying this much weight. It's no problem. If you could see the plans God has for you, you would notice your beams are much bigger than what you're carrying right now. And with that increase comes more weight. You're going to have more pressure. This is pressure that makes you stretch, makes you grow. Not just difficulties, but positive pressure, where you discover you can handle things that you never thought you could handle. What am I saying? You've been designed for everything you're going to face. When you come into things that seem too hard, things that should cause you to collapse, don't worry. God knew they were coming. He already made your beams big enough. Now, it may be uncomfortable. You may have to stretch, but that pressure is not going to stop you. Whatever is in your future, you have the grace to handle it. Now, the key is don't lose the battle in your mind. Your mind will say it's too much. I might believe you if your architect lived down the street. If your architect worked for a firm downtown, he could make a mistake. Your architect is the God who spoke worlds into existence. He doesn't miscalculate. You will never face a situation that you're not designed for.